Good morning, my dear students. In today's live class, we were discussed about the sexual reproduction in flowering plants, and also we were started the sexual reproduction in human beings. So, in sexual reproduction in flowering plants, we know that in angiosperm plants, the male reproductive part of a flower is stamen, and the female reproductive part is a pistil. Okay, and the stamen contains anthers and filament, and inside the anthers the male gamete or pollen grains are present. And in the case of a pistil, it contains stigma, style and ovary. Okay, so before fertilization, we know that fertilization is the important step in sexual reproduction, and before that the pollen grains from the male flower must be transferred to the stigma of the female part. Then only the fertilization occurs. So in that case, in some case, there are two types of pollination occur: self-pollination and cross-pollination. In self-pollination, the pollen grains from a flower is transferred to the stigma of the same flower. And in cross-pollination, the pollen grains from one flower is transferred to the stigma of another flower. So, for carrying out the cross-pollination, there are certain agents which are helping. The pollination with the help of wind is there. Then pollination is helped with the help of water. Then pollination is carried out with the help of animals and insects, etc. Other. So, the pollination with the help of wind is termed as anemophily. The pollination with the help of water is termed as hydrophily, and the pollination with the help of insects are termed as entomophily. And the pollination with the help of animals are termed as zoophily. Okay, so in pollination, the pollen grains are transferred from the anthers to the stigma of a flower. And when it reaches the stigma, when the pollen grains reaches the stigma, it will start producing a pollen tube. A pollen tube will be produced by this pollen grain, and that carries, the pollen tube carries the male gamete which is present inside the pollen grain. And that male gamete is carried into the ovule which is present inside the ovary. And that ovule contains the female germ cell or the egg cell. Okay, and when the male gamete comes in contact with the female gamete, that means egg cell, there occurs the fertilization and also formation of zygote, then embryo, etc. Okay, and after fertilization, the seeds will produce coats, the ovules will produce certain coats over it, and that will transform to a seed, and the ovary will develop to fruit. So, I will repeat it once more. Zygote will give rise to embryo, then ovule will give rise to seeds, and ovary transform to form fruits. And under suitable condition, the seeds will get germinate. So, in that, the seeds contain two parts, the radicle and the plumule. The radicle will give rise to the root system, and the plumule will give rise to shoot system. Okay, so this is about the sexual reproduction in flowering plants, and the next topic is sexual reproduction in human beings. We know that in our body, when the ages are coming, there are lots of changes will occur. For example, when we are in the childhood stage, our body is different, and when we are in the stage of a young adult or the old age, our body will have the changes. So in the young stage, we have certain height, and when we grow up, our height and weight also increases. And in the case of a child, the milk teeth or the temporary teeth will arises, and after its fall off, the new set of teeth will be arising. That is called as permanent teeth. Like that, there are lots of changes are occurring in our body in growth and development. At the same time, during a particular phase of our life, there are lots of other changes occurs. For example, at certain ages in both boys and girls, certain important changes will occur, like hairs will grow in the armpits and the genital area, and that portions will become more darker, like that changes are common both in boys and girls, and the hairs will occur on the face and the sound of voice will crack, like that there are certain changes occur. And such changes may be different for both girls and boys. For example, in the case of girls, the breast size will increase, and the nipples and the surrounding areas will become dark. In the case of male, the penis will become occasionally erect and also increase in size. Like that, there are certain changes occur. So such kind of changes are the indication of the sexual maturation. Okay, and it occurs mainly during the age of adolescence period at the puberty stage. We can call it as puberty. The attainment of sexual maturity only occurs during the puberty period. And we know that when we when we are sexually mature, this kind of changes are necessary, and this will be different in different individuals according to our body patterns and body. Each individual will be different in such kind of changes. Okay, and we know that the male germ cells and female germ cells are together, fused together to form the zygote during fertilization. So for that, after getting the sexual maturity, the male germ cells and female germ cells are started producing, and also we are the sexually mature individual will be having the capacity to reproduce. Okay. So in animals and in human beings, the sexual intercourse and or the mating results in the fusion of male and female gametes. Okay, so these are the things that we have discussed in our live class, and the rest of the portion will be taken in our